Did you know that there are tons of abandoned tunnel systems right here in the United States under our feet? Did you also know that people are currently living there as well? Keep watching to find out. Hello, Horror Nights and family, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if my voice sounds a little it's because I'm currently dealing with all of the crazy allergies that have presented itself to us in spring right here on the East Coast of the United States. Also, for the past 15 years of my life, I've been dealing with horrible chronic aura migraines. And this morning I woke up and the universe decided to bless me with one, so I immediately took a little pill because of modern medicine. Now, yes, it did help with my migraine. It did kick that thing right out of here, but unfortunately the side effects are a little not so great. So if I seem a little space cadet-y or a little out of it, or there's more edits than usual in between my takes, I blame that. Thank you, modern medicine, but also side effects of migraine medicine, not so great. All right, guys, let's go talk about some tunnels and get into this video. Horror fan, I like to believe the majority of us have seen the iconic Us film that was directed by Jordan Peele. And I'd also like to assume as horror fans, we like the very mysterious things that are around us and we like to question things around us as well. And I have to assume that you are aware of the mysterious underground tunnels that run under us all over the United States. But if you're not aware of either of these things, that's okay. That's why I made this video, to shed light on this very spooky subject. Without giving too much away about the film Us, because you guys know me, I don't really like to give spoilers. It basically centers on an underground world and what might be going on down there. I also would have to assume that this film is a work of fiction, but the ideas of these tunnels are real. So over the last several decades, many major cities have done a complete overhaul of their underground sewer systems, which basically means they're leaving behind miles and miles of abandoned, dark, and dirty tunnels. From Chicago to New York City to Los Angeles, these tunnels lay untouched and left to their own demise. But the thing is, there are some logical explanations as to why these tunnels have been abandoned. As I mentioned, construction of new sewer systems. But some other reasons are flooding, wars, the Great Depression, and of course those secret corridors coined booze corridors during Prohibition. There was also fear of a nuclear war during the Cold War that resulted in hundreds of underground bunkers. There was even an entire elementary school built underground in New Mexico. Author Will Hunt talks about this in his book Underground, A Human History of the Worlds Beneath Our Feet. So in his book, he says the following: the only visible aspect was the playground. Beneath the surface were classrooms of 420 students. And in the event of a nuclear strike, shelter for 2,000 citizens. The cafeteria's walk-in refrigerator could be converted into a morgue. So this elementary school is now closed, and sometimes it's occasionally used by law enforcement officials for active shooter training. The thing is, though, guys, that people actually do live underground currently, right now, and they live relatively normal lives. They're just underground. The 2000 documentary Dark Days follows people who created shelters for themselves in the tunnels of Manhattan, running from Midtown to Harlem. There's also another author, his name is Anthony Horton, and he wrote the graphic novel Pitch Black about living in the subway system. But then he died in a fire in a makeshift apartment that he had built there in 2012. And as I mentioned, this is not just in New York City either. People also live underground in Las Vegas due to the cost of living there. And these tunnels were first built to originally protect the city from flooding. Then there's also this theory about the underground cave system system in the United States. And you might have seen this floating around the internet. But I did some digging, and interestingly enough, this is more so connected to the people who are missing in our national parks. Now, if you guys are an avid Horror Nights In watcher, then you know that I actually did a video on this already, and I will link it down in the description box below so you guys can go back and check it out if it sounds like it's something that interests you. And this map was actually created by David Pollids, who is the author of the Missing 411 books. Then there's also this theory that these tunnels were constructed to shuffle around missing children, and it kind of correlates to Pizzagate a little bit, which I'm not really gonna get into. But honestly, I think this theory is just from people taking small bits of information, kind of adding in their own thing, and then it sort of starts trending and circulates, and then more people add to the story, and then it just becomes this huge big thing. So I don't personally believe that these underground tunnels or caves are being used to move around any of these missing children. Personally, I don't believe that. So as I continued my research, I found this really interesting theory about Walmart. Yeah, Walmart. And when I was reading this theory, it kind of spooked me a little bit because there's a Walmart literally within walking distance of my apartment. So the theory says that in 2015, 5 separate Walmarts shut down due to plumbing problems. And employees were only giving a 5-day warning before the Walmart was essentially just shut down. And they were told that it was going to be open in 6 months when they resolved the problem, but apparently they never opened again. So the theory goes that the place was completely gutted, and they had all the windows blacked out, and they actually had police officers and military personnel sort of standing guard on the entrances. So people, of course, were curious to see what was going on at their local Walmart, so they did a little bit of investigating. But the police quickly escorted these people off of the premises and told them to delete any footage they might have taken, and some even had their devices seized. The theory then continues that at the top of the building had weird metal spikes pointing out of them. Some people even described it as barbed wire. Some people even noticed that the garden centers of these Walmarts looked like holding cells, and that the cameras that they had were facing odd directions in the building. Some people even theorized that the government was setting these Walmarts up as FEMA camps. Some believe that America is prepping for a major disaster destined to happen and will declare martial law and use these FEMA camps. Now, considering all the things that have been happening in the last couple years, I don't know if I actually believe this one, but I never say never to anything. Some other people theorize that these Walmarts had to be shut down because of structural issues. Also, that there might have been some kind of lawsuit against these particular stores, and Walmart decided just to shut them down. This theory grew so big that a representative from Walmart actually did make a statement, and they basically said that none of these things were true and that it was just plumbing issues. So I don't know what to believe, but it's a little suspect. And last, but probably certainly not least when it comes to this topic, is the Denver airport and the underground tunnels beneath it. If you are familiar with this airport, then you might also be familiar with some of the really strange theories that go on and that some people talk about this place. If you guys want me to do an in-depth video on this, please let me know down in the comments below. I've actually been to the Denver airport, but it was like 4 a.m. and I was so tired, and I literally had to get on my flight really fast because I almost missed it and fly back to the East Coast. So I really don't remember too much about the Denver airport, but I have watched a lot of videos on it. So if you guys are interested in seeing something like that, please let me know in the comments down below. So people are saying that these underground tunnels are actually bunkers for rich people, but they were possibly built by lizard people or aliens. And as I said, they'll serve as a safe place for the elite during an apocalypse. And other theories say that the tunnels directly lead to the North American Aerospace Defense Command, which is located only about 100 miles from the airport in Colorado Springs. But there's also the theory, and probably most likely, that these underground tunnels are mainly used for transporting baggage and a train that runs between concourses. So I know I threw a lot of you in this video, but please let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I put new videos every single Wednesday and Saturday. And don't forget to follow me on all of my socials. Links to all of that are in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget to turn on the bell to be notified every single time that I upload a brand new video. And remember, just be nice to one another. See you guys in my next video. Bye!